We're in a dangerous and divided world. We talked earlier about the challenges in the Middle East, the threats from Iran, threats from Russia, Russia's aggression in Ukraine. We have the threats from China, which I raised. We have the United States, which is fundamentally changing its security relationships, its commercial relationships. We have all this. And in the context of that, everyone on this stage, Mr. Blanchet, Mr. Singh, myself, we have our top secret security clearance. We have our top secret security clearance. I got mine within 3 weeks. It wasn't hard, but I felt it was important that I had it so I could be in a position to be informed about that dangerous world and take decisions at. And Mr. Poilievre, it is now 950 days, if my numbers are right, since you've had the opportunity to get your top secret security clearance, and you've refused. Why?
Well, first of all, I have got my security clearance when I was a minister. I got top secret clearance at the time, so there's no problem getting that. But when the government made this recent offer, they said that if I got the secret security clearance briefings, that I would be gagged under the security law, and I could be prosecuted if I spoke freely about matters of foreign interference. Now, given that Canada has experienced Chinese interference by Beijing, the government of China, in 2 consecutive elections, I needed to do my job to speak freely without fear of prosecution. And that was not something I would be allowed to do. Even Thomas Mulcair, the former leader of the NDP, said that when he was the leader of the opposition, he never would have accepted the kind of gag order that your government and Mr. Trudeau's government was attempting to impose on me. And it's good that I'd made that decision, because it has allowed me to speak freely about things like the case where one of your candidates, sir, actually said that he wanted to send a political opponent to China under a bounty threatening his life or imprisonment, and you refused to get rid of him. Now, it might have something to do with the fact that you went to China not long ago to get a $250 million loan for your company. But the reality is, you refused to stand up for a Canadian who was being threatened by a foreign government, and I was able to speak freely on that matter because I refused the gag order that the Liberal government attempted to impose on me.
Well, there's a couple of interesting things. I think people at home have seen a robust debate here, and it's been a robust campaign, and it has not stopped Mr. Blanchet or Mr. Singh at times during his campaign by making challenges with respect to these issues. So one can address it. I will observe, as someone with a top secret security clearance, that China is not the only country that is accused of foreign interference. And
gentlemen, that is time
we'll leave
for
it
this
at
segment.
that.
Canada has learned of an alleged attempt by India to derail Patrick Brown's Conservative leadership bid in 2022. Among other claims, confidential sources said agents of the Indian government allegedly pressured Brown's national campaign co-chair to withdraw her support. Radio Canada's Brigitte Bureau is here with more on her exclusive story. Okay, Brigitte, tell us more about what you've reported here.
Radio-Canada has spoken with 5 people separately, with 5 people who were closely linked to Brown's campaign. Now, we have agreed not to name these people because they fear for their safety. As you know, the RCMP suspects the Indian government of being involved in murder and other criminal activities on Canadian soil. But according to these sources, Conservative MP Michelle Rempel-Garner was allegedly pressured to stop supporting Mr. Brown. As you know, Michelle Rempel-Garner was co-chair of his national campaign at the time. She categorically denies these allegations, and we'll get back to that. But I also want to make it clear that Radio-Canada has no evidence indicating that Pierre Poilievre was at all that knew about these Indian agents' actions at all.
Okay, because he later won that race, of course. So Michelle Rempel-Garner denies it, but sources say it was agents of the Indian government. What are these sources alleging exactly?
Well, for instance, one highly placed source in the campaign says that it was well known in the team that it was a source of discussion, of concern also, and I quote, that Indian consulate representatives had approached Michelle, strongly suggesting that it was not in her best interest to continue working alongside Patrick. Now, some sources say they heard it directly from the MP because she held at one point she was on a conference call and they discussed it amongst the team. And we've spoken to people who say who they were on that call. And one of them says that Michelle Remper, talked about Indian diplomats approaching her and telling her, you need to retract your support for Patrick. Later in the leadership race, you'll remember, David, that Ms. Rempel-Garner did quit the campaign. Right. She was saying that she was looking into maybe a move to Alberta provincial politics. A week later, she abandoned that idea, but never did go back to Brown's campaign.
Okay, yeah, she was going to succeed Jason Kenney until she decided not to.
Yes.